What's up, Cowboy fans? Steve Leslie, YSN Live. Coach's Corner, Week 3, sponsored by the Baird Brothers, with the head ball coach of the Chaney Cowboys, Coach Chris Amill. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me again. See how fast the season's going.
I was just going to say that. Week 3, that doesn't even seem right, even in a 6-week season. But you know what, Coach? Before we get into anything, one of your players, in a tragic situation, lost a brother. On behalf of DJ, myself, and all of us at YSN, and I'm sure all the Chaney faithful, all the good fans that you have, sympathies to you and your ball club. I guess maybe talk about that a little bit. It has to be tough times over there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It is, and it's sad because it's something that I grew up in, when I was in high school, and all the senseless violence. But had a good day at practice yesterday, and go home and finally get to sit down and eat, and get a message, that a player's brother was shot, and we go up to the hospital, and then we get the news that he ended up passing away, and it's just hard for the boys. They're a family. I mean, they've been together all this time. The player came over, so he's been here since June 1st. And we have before every practice what we call a check-in. And it's just a way to just mentally check in and let coaches know where you are mentally and any issues going on. And guys were just breaking down. I mean, it's a sad situation. He has a lot of friends on the team. And, I always talk about this is more than football. And this is
question.
Talking about.
Yeah, it's way more than football, no question. But from all of us at YSN, sympathies and prayers. You guys are all in our hearts. And, you're the right man in the right spot, Chris. I've told you that a long time. You do well with those kids. They're going to lean on you. And I know you'll respond in a big way to be that figure for them to get them through this one.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Well, let's jump into some football. You travel to Howland. Lose a tough game, 13-12. I've known you a long time. I'm not going to. I watched the tape. Still a little baffled on a touchdown call with ineligible downfield. I know how you are. You won't, go into a lot of bashing. But I got to do my job too. Chaney fans want to know because let's be honest, they weren't able to watch it, and then to see that highlight. Take us through that play a little bit.
We're down on a 2.5-yard line. And fourth down, and I told our offensive coordinator we're going for it, and he caught in the reverse pass, and as you can see, we caught everybody off guard. Howland was a man-to-man team, so our quarterback's wide open. We scored, and they throw up the signals, and everyone is celebrating. Our linemen are starting to run. The receiver that threw the ball is back on the sideline jumping up and down, and then you just hear in the headphones like, wait a minute, like he just threw a real late flag, and we look and didn't get an explanation early. Later on, we were told that it was 52 downfield. And we do have the luxury to have sideline huddle. So we're able to watch the play at halftime. And we've seen that you have a 3-yard grace period.
Sure.
And it's a judgment call. But if the ball's at a 2.5, I mean, that means our guy has to be in the end zone. And clearly he wasn't. And it's always the old saying, one play doesn't win or lose a game, but one play can make a very big difference.
Well, there's no question that play was a huge play in that game. Obviously, a tough 13-12 loss. As you go back, we talked last week. Obviously, you had to see some improvement, I'm sure. Talk about those things a little bit.
Yeah, we actually had 2 or 3 touchdowns called back in the first half. At halftime, we were up 12-0 and had 2 or 3 touchdowns called back. So there's no reason we shouldn't have been up 30, 40 points at halftime. We did have chances. Guys are playing better. They're playing faster. Even some of the seniors that we do have, some of them are playing new. So it's getting them familiar with where they're playing. Some of the younger guys we have, and it's crazy because going into the Ursuline game, we lose our starting tailback in pregame. And going into Howland, we lose our starting center in pregame.
Well, you got to stop having pregame then.
Exactly. That's what I said. This week, it would be good if we had a locker room. But even with Corona, it's hard because the home teams get to use locker rooms, but we're stuck like Pee Wee teams and we just have to sit on the field. So, it's just different, so we can't even go in. Like we get there and we're in the field the entire time. We're using bathrooms and porta potties or whatever they have for us. I mean, it's an adjustment, and it's just pregame. So he goes down, but we're getting there. We're playing better. Those first 2 games would have been our first 2 scrimmages, and still, like I said before, we got the right pieces and just trying to get them in the right places.
With Coach Amill, Coach's Corner, Chaney Cowboys, sponsored by Baird Brothers. We'll get into the Fitch game. But here's what I'm going to tell you. I know I've watched you coach. I watched the progression of this team. Obviously, in the back of your mind, you have to understand, I'm sure, that this is a good football team. And the playoff run is still that's what I guess, if there's a positive in this pandemic, and I don't want to say that to be that way. But, again, I'll say this for you. I don't know if I'm a coach – how many of my teams I want to play a Chaney Cowboy team in the playoffs. Let's just leave it at that.
Right. No, and I agree. And that's what I told, my boys. At the end of the day, Howland's Division III like we are, so there's a chance we'll see.
Sure.
And it's the same way last year. We young and getting people in the right positions and places, and we started clicking at the right time, and hopefully that's the case this year. And yeah, like you said, granted, nobody wants to go, 0-6 or 1-5 or whatever, but at the end of the day, you get the playoffs and anything can happen.
Okay, isn't it safe to say, though, with the schedule and who you're playing, you're going to be ready for the playoffs, no matter what the record?
We'll be ready physically. We'll be ready mentally. We're playing teams that are very well coached.
Right. Bigger schools.
So, and we'll be ready. And like I said, we're young, so, over the next couple of years, we'll still be having, a lot of guys with experience coming back. That's the flip side to it.
Well, you're the right guy in the right spot. Game experience. There's nothing better than that. Chaney Cowboys are going to invade the old West Side rivalry this week. Coach Parker and the Austintown Fitch Falcons. We'll have it on ysnlive.com/Chaney or /Fitch. You can watch it. Let's dive into that. Coach Parker, Chris, I've watched him twice. That's a talented football team. There's no question about it.
Yeah, no, they're playing good on offense and defense. And they're disciplined. So it's, the rivalry's coming back. It's going to be fun. I've said from day one, I think we match up with anybody athletically.
Sure.
Just getting our younger guys up front to just go and just play. And it's slowly but surely, and if we can get them jokers moving and playing hard and playing fast, then, I honestly don't think skill-wise that anyone in the area matches up with us. But if we can't get it done in the trenches, we'll struggle.
Right. Talk about that rivalry a little bit. Is this the first time for you? Well, obviously, first Fitch Chaney game for you. I know the West Side will be buzzing. It's a little different situation than with tickets. We're fortunate enough to be able to stream it. How big of a rivalry is that for these kids? I'm sure they get it. They know a lot of guys on the Fitch football team, I'm sure. Juices will be flowing Friday night at Austintown Fitch.
Yeah, for rivalry for the guys is good, because at the end of the day, they have a lot of Youngstown City kids on the team,
Right.
So our guys went to school with those guys when they were younger. Some of them still live in the same neighborhoods as each other, so for these guys, it's big. We got some guys that left Fitch and came back, so, that part of the rivalry, it's going to be fun. This being my first game, I've been in a lot of Mooney Urson games.
Sure.
But with Corona, everything's is just different. You don't have all the fans, and we're not in school, so you don't have the pep rallies, and you don't have spirit days, and
right.
So for us, it's just working to get better. But our guys, they got a little edge to them because, like I said, when they go home, some of their neighbors are the
sure.
players. So
that's a great opportunity. It has to be exciting for you. That's a great opportunity for an 0-2 team to go face somebody like that. The attention, I know, is there. The focus will be there. The excitement, I'm sure, will be there. And I think it's going to be a good football game. A lot of people, expect it to be a blowout. I don't think so. I think your team and you and your staff, what needs to be done. You had 2 games in now, in my opinion. your regular season starting this week against, let's face it, right now they're probably the best team in the area right now, playing, scoring points, playing defense. But I think you catch them at the right time, and it's going to be a good game. So with Coach Amill, Coach's Corner, Chaney Cowboys, Baird Brothers, the sponsor, Chris, we're awful proud to be a partner of Chaney football and cover your all year long. Coach Amill's keys to beating a very talented Fitch football team.
We got to tackle. We have to be disciplined, and we just got to take care of the ball. If we can take care of the ball, I think we can score a point, and that just comes along with being disciplined. And like you said, they're with them offensively and the points they're putting up, we gotta be able to tackle.
Well, we wish you the best of luck to you and the squad, to the coaches. Go get win number 1. Hopefully we'll talk next week. But again, on part of myself, DJ, Brian, Scott, and all of us at YSN, this is a heavy heart to do this with you. I know that's a tough situation, but again, you're one of those guys that I've been around a long time that will help this football team through another adverse situation. So thoughts and prayers to the Chaney family, and best of luck Friday night.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
All righty. Have a good one.
All right, you too.